Hi, this is Sarah from sarayip.com, Facebook The Numbers Queen, and Instagram sarayip1111 with a very special guest from our meditation series, and Nicole Gibson. Hello.
Hey, you guys. Nice to be here.
So it's hard to sum up what Nicole does, but you could describe her as a former mental health commissioner and also CEO of In-Truth Technologies, and also the author of Love Out Loud, which is an awesome book I have been brushing up on. So,
Oh, no.
Nicole, we've got a few questions for you today, mainly about your meditation practice.
Sure.
And if it's okay, I also wanted to introduce briefly your numerology.
Let's do it.
That's my passion.
Yeah.
So you've provided your date of birth off screen. We know that you're a number 8. So you are the comeback kid, comeback king, comeback queen. Fall down 7 times, get up 8 type person.
It sounds about right. Yeah.
We know that around the age of 8, you had a lot of changes in your home. Can you tell us what was going on around 26, which was your life path turning point in numerology?
Yeah, sure. So I've always been very entrepreneurial from 18, and between 18 and 26, I was very much on a single sort of ever-evolving path, I guess, as a mental health expert is what people saw me as, and started to really feel a sense of, yes, the best way to describe it was I just felt confined by that sort of definition, because I felt like my work and my message was so much more than that, and yet I had a lot of success in that space. So it was a big decision, but I decided to step away and basically write what became the Love Out Loud philosophy, and subsequently created a social movement. So I wrote Love Out Loud when I was 25, but the movement really started to, because I launched the book, and just started to see the traction really start taking place around 26.
Yeah, I got goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it just all started getting massive, huh?
Yeah.
That seems to be a bit of a number 8 thing. You start small, it becomes gigantic 3 minutes later, and then you're like, whoa, Nelly. And then you have to get lots of people in. So that's why they call it the boss.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's definitely how it felt.
And, and at the same time comes with so much pressure. So on that subject, when did you start meditating this lifetime?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think maybe a bit of an unconventional answer, but when I was 4 or 5 years old, we used to have a house that overlooked the water, and there was this beautiful jetty.
Wow.
And I remember feeling really anxious if I wasn't home in time for sunset, because I had this, I guess, just this really intuitive practice of going to the jetty at sunset every day. And I look back now, and it was like a meditation. When mum used to ask me what it was, I used to say, as a 4 or 5-year-old with no spiritual context in my life, I need to have a meeting with God. And so that was my reference as a kid, wherever that came from, probably wherever I was, before I was born, I would say.
So, yeah.
But that pull, to need to have that time, which I still, for me, that's what meditation, that's how I experience meditation. It's a meeting and a space with the divine, for sure. And so that was natural for me as a kid, and I think because it wasn't encouraged, or probably discouraged, I moved away from it, and that caused me a lot of mental health problems as a teenager. And then recognizing through, we've shared our stories before, Sarah, but going through an eating disorder, recognizing that all the treatments inside of that system were just not actually effective for me. Interestingly, it eventually initiated me back to a place where I realized meditation and presence is the only way that I'm going to be able to heal. So that reignited my meditation practice around 17, 18 years old. And then interestingly, like the first 3 years of my entrepreneurial journey, I traveled through rural and remote parts of Australia, building or helping support communities and building capacity. And so a big part of my process with them was teaching meditation, teaching presence, but naturally as well, I was living in my van, very minimalistic, my life became very meditative. As an example, you know, living in your van in the desert when the sun goes down at 7 p.m., there's nothing, there's no there's no phone reception, there's no, you know. So I guess for me, my experience of meditation wasn't going to a teacher, you know, forcing myself to sit down and meditate for an hour a day, because that lifestyle for those first several years of my adult life, I was in a state of meditation, isolated, alone, you know, from 7 p.m. usually until I would go to sleep at 10 or 11 p.m. Pretty much with no distraction, every day. And now I feel it. It's more a sense of, if I get overstimulated, if I'm in sort of outside environments that are overstimulating or works to overstimulating, my need to retreat and to go back into a state of stillness is quite extreme. And that's something that I prioritize, you know, in my daily life now. I always feel like I need 2 or 3 hours with myself every day to recalibrate.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, and that's it. That is an unconventional journey. I can definitely relate though. And it's interesting because, of course, the 8 looks like the God symbol of eternity, but also that whole power of now, you know, not being in the past, not being in the future, being able to be in the 0 point field. And so it sounds like you've been meditating forever. And also that in terms of who inspired you to meditate, it wasn't so much teachers as, well, nature really.
Yeah, it's a presence, and it's something that I guess it's hard to explain to someone that doesn't have this kind of conscious experience. But for me, that sense of divinity and love is really ever present. And so when I feel distressed is when I don't have enough time to actually feel a sense of conscious reverence to that, which I guess is my experience in meditation. Is it's a practice of feeling reverence towards the miracle that's life. And when I'm in that miracle, I now understand. I didn't understand when I was younger, but I now understand that it elevates my vibration to a space of, you know, gratitude, appreciation, love, unity, and that's a very powerful vibration. And that's all I see meditation being, is just being in the conscious experience of your reality, like actually bringing your conscious mind into harmony with, in my case, all that is, so that there's no friction, there's no resistance, there's no separation from things, which means we're not resisting what we're trying to, a lot of us, avoid in our life, like pain or difficulty. And it also means we're not separate from the things we're wanting to bring in. So that, it's the 0 point field where you can actually choose what it is you focus on, and what it is you therefore are experiencing in your daily life more consciously.
Well, you know, as a child, I was making up meditations from a very young age. I used to flood the room with white light because I was always scared of everything. And I would always pretend I was a mermaid, and I'd have to go swimming until all my fears had dissolved, and I'd rest on the seabed. And I never told anyone that. I thought it was just kind of just important for myself. And I kept a diary from 6. So it would be interesting. Yeah, I would guess that you had some sort of head start. Maybe in your last lifetime, you died meditating. And you woke up meditating. Like, that wouldn't surprise me at all. So I'm interested, you sort of touched on this, but have there been some crises or situations where meditation has really made a difference for you? Because this series is to help people who, you know, meditation is interesting, but sometimes they just can't see why you would make it mission critical, basically.
Yeah, I think this is a really important question. You know, for anyone that's listening that is in that category, like you haven't yet connected to the value of practicing that stillness. The way I explain it to people is, especially in crisis, or when you're going through a period of change where you feel out of control and you feel like life's happening to you and you're not in the driver's seat, think of meditation as a space to reconnect to your sovereignty. Think of meditation as a space to reconnect to your choice. And unless you're actually intentionally creating time and space to be in that relationship with your choice, of course, it's going to feel like a snowball effect. And so for me, I mean, there have been many instances of, anywhere from crisis or just leading a company of, a big team in 4 countries around the world.
Yeah.
Unless I intentionally connect to that part of my spirit that knows no matter what's going on the outside, you have choice. And that doesn't mean I'm going to choose to run away from my company, but it means that I feel empowered to make that choice. And I don't fall into this headspace of I'm a victim of what's happening, which when under certain circumstances, especially crisis, it can be very, it can feel very difficult to get out of that space. So
especially if people are panicking around you, right? I mean, it's kind of contagious when people start to like rip apart all of the structures and things. So at those pivotal moments.
Yeah, and you will feel, you'll actually start to feel and sense opportunity in situations where other people are panicked. I think like what we've been through over the past couple of years is such an profound example of that. If you can observe, the evolution of my company as a technology company, recognizing the need to scale the work that I do, that would not have happened, which is on a track to become a very incredible company that hopefully will change millions and millions of lives. That would not have happened unless I had a practice of observation, of stillness in amongst everyone else's panic. In fact, we facilitated a mass global meditation where we got 100,000 people around the world to meditate together at the beginning of COVID. And when I dropped in to do that meditation with everyone, that was actually when I first received the idea for this company. So when everyone else was stressed about losing their businesses, and I ran an events business, so that was like highly dependent, on being able to gather. But because I didn't buy into that, and I took the time to actually be still and observe, I saw profound opportunity where other people were only seeing roadblocks. And I guess in a crisis, just think about how important that is to be able to see what life is trying to get you out of, and most importantly, what it's actually trying to move you towards, because there's always a gift in that. But unless we have a space like meditation, it's going to be impossible to see the forest through the trees.
Oh, yes. That's the most beautiful explanation I've heard in a long time. I mean, I just taught a meditation class and I actually had a little picture of spam. Spam, it's this like pork product in a can. I doubt you eat it, but in the 80s it was really big. And the picture was don't spam God. So if you're going to ask for things and pray and all that kind of thing, it's only polite to then meditate or journal or have like a place where you can receive the messages and act on them. Because otherwise, for me, it's just like sending email after email and just like, why are miracles not happening? There's this sort of giving and receiving aspect.
Yeah, that's a really powerful explanation. I see meditation as creating the condition so that when you ask through prayer, actually that there's a fertility there in
100%. You're right. It's like as soon as it's there, you're there, rather than having to climb a mountain and then it's already expired. It's just you get everything really fresh.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I think that's super valuable. Just try it, you guys. What do you have to lose? Like, I think sometimes we put pressure on ourselves. I know I do this sometimes when I'm learning a new skill, to be perfect, or we're judging ourselves against someone that's already an expert. Just if you see it as a relationship in your life, just start building that relationship a couple minutes a day. It doesn't have to be something that's extremely time demanding.
Yeah, I totally agree. It can just be like the equivalent of one text message. One
totally.
text exchange to begin with. So I know we need to wind up. What's your current meditation practice? And also, how would people follow you or connect with you if they're interested?
I would say right at the moment in my life, my meditation practice is actually writing, because I'm deep in a writing process. So I use the time that I would usually spend just in total stillness. I'm using that time to write.
And do you do that by hand or by computer? Just out of interest.
I like doing it by hand.
Me too.
but because, and that's actually, you know, that there's a much better brain connection when you're doing it by hand, but because I'm finishing a book, I'm finding that I am doing it more on the laptop. But I think the awareness that meditation has given me is also understanding when I'm most in flow. So there's times of the day, and there's certain things that I can do around that time where I actually sit to write or to meditate, which amplifies. So what that means is what might take, you know, someone 7 hours to write. If the condition is right and I'm in the right meditative state, I can achieve that in 30 to 60 minutes.
Wow.
And
It's like
that's
spiritual Uber or something. It's just like go and pick up out. Yum.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So that's the other benefit is your awareness increases so much that I see so many people waste so much energy on force. And if you can get this right in your life, you know, you'll be able to do a few hours of work a day. That's probably more productive than a few days of work for someone else. And that's invaluable. You know, I heard Elon Musk say on an interview the other day that a minute worth of his thinking is $1 million for Tesla.
Are you serious?
So imagine, and I trust that he's quantified that because of who he is, you know, imagine being so self-aware that a minute of your thinking has $1 million price tag on it. And I'm not saying that it's about money, but I think that's a beautiful, you know, perspective that if you're in this practice, the quality of your thinking increases, the quality of your work increases for less time. So you're getting more for less output. And that's, if you really want to change your life, that's kind of the direction you need to be thinking about rather than just doing the same thing.
Grind. Oh, totally. You're going to laugh, Nicole. My last recorded reading was for Elon Musk. That's up on my site. I did like a massive, huge, in-depth, lifelong thing. And I just got 2 books on him arrive yesterday. So it's super cool that you've mentioned that. I'm not surprised at all. Right? But look, thank you. It's just been absolutely fascinating. And I'll put links to your work below. Did you want to also just explain the best way for people, like I said, if they want to understand what you're doing, how can they?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I think just follow me on Instagram, Nick Gibson, NICGIBSON _. Or if you wanted to find out more about In Truth, our website's going to be up in a couple of weeks. It's just intruth.io.
Yeah, perfect timing, hey?
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. So this has been Sarah from sarayip.com, the Numbers Queen, and Instagram, sarayip1111, with the amazing Nick Gibson, Life Pass 8, playing God or playing good on different parts of the day. And yeah, thank you so much. And I look forward to our next catch up.
Thank you, Sarah.
See ya.